Admiral Lee Taman stood at the window of Concordia Prime, watching the stars. Behind him, the great hall filled with aliens from across the galaxy. Today, they would sign the peace treaty. Today, the war would end. The war had lasted 300 years. Millions had died. Whole planets turned to ash. Everyone was tired. Everyone wanted peace. But Taman knew something the aliens did not know. He knew humans very well. Captain Park Mina walked up beside him. She was young, strong, and smart. She had fought in 20 battles. She knew war better than most people twice her age. "Do you think they know what they are doing?" she asked quietly. Taman smiled. "No, they think they are clever. They think this treaty will stop us." The treaty was simple. No advanced weapons in contested zones. No energy weapons. No chemical weapons. No computer targeting. The aliens thought this would make humans weak. Humans were known for their technology. Take away the technology, they thought, and humans become harmless. Ambassador Kim Dae-hyun joined them. He wore formal robes. He looked serious. "The Vreks are smiling," he said. "The Luminar think they have won. The Kesh are already planning their next moves." "Let them plan," Taman said. "We will be ready." The ceremony began. Leaders from 4 species sat at the great table. The Vreks Collective sent their hive commander. He looked like a giant insect with sharp claws and black armor. The Luminar Sovereignty sent their crystal prince. Light shined through his transparent body. The Kesh Empire sent their waterlord. He sat in a tank, his gills moving slowly, and humanity sent Taman. The treaty document floated in the air, holographic and bright. Each leader placed their mark on it. The Vreks commander clicked his mandibles in satisfaction. The Luminar prince rang like a bell. The Kesh lord bubbled with pleasure. Taman signed last. His face showed nothing. "It is done," the Vreks commander said.
"Now humans cannot use their terrible weapons."
"Peace will come." "Yes," Taman agreed. "Peace will come." That night, Taman called a secret meeting. Park Mina came. Kim Dae-hyun came. And a young engineer named Yoon Ji-won came too. Ji-won was different from most military engineers. She studied old things, ancient things. She knew about weapons from Earth's past. While other engineers built plasma rifles and laser cannons, Ji-won read about bows and catapults. "Show them," Taman said. Ji-won smiled and activated her tablet. Images filled the room. Strange weapons appeared. Wooden bows. Metal crossbows. "Giant wooden machines, what are these?" Park Mina asked. "These are trebuchets," Ji-won said, pointing to a large machine. "And ballistas. And mangonels. Siege engines from human history. We use these weapons for thousands of years. They throw rocks and spears using only gravity and tension. No explosives. No electronics. No computers." Park Mina leaned forward. "They are treaty compliant." "Exactly," Ji-won said. "And these are bows, longbows, crossbows, composite bows. Humans use these weapons to conquer continents. One skilled archer could shoot 12 arrows per minute. Each arrow could pierce armor. Each arrow could kill." Kim Dae-hyun looked worried. "But these are ancient weapons. Will they work against alien armor?" Taman spoke. "The weapons are ancient, but we will build them with modern materials. Carbon fiber, titanium alloys, synthetic polymers. We will make bows stronger than any bow in history. We will make arrows that can pierce starship hull plating." "The aliens think we are helpless without our technology," Park Mina said. "They forgot that humans did not start with plasma rifles. We started with rocks and sticks. We are very good at killing with simple things." Taman nodded. "The treaty forbids advanced weapons, but it says nothing about skill. Nothing about training. Nothing about 10,000 years of human warfare. When do we start?" Ji-won asked. "Now," Taman said. "Start tonight. I want prototypes in 1 month. I want full production in 3 months. Train every soldier, every Marine, every pilot. Teach them to shoot. Teach them to aim. Teach them to kill the old way." The meeting ended. The work began. 2 weeks later, the Vreks made their move. They landed troops on a human colony called New Busan. It was a farming world. Peaceful, weak, or so the Vreks thought. The Vreks commander sent a message to Concordia Prime. "We are occupying New Busan. We bring only primitive weapons as the treaty requires. We expect no resistance." Taman read the message. He looked at Park Mina. "How many defenders do we have on New Busan?" 3,000, Park Mina said. "Commander Kang Minji leads them. She is ready. And the Vreks?" 10,000 warriors. They carry electroshock spears and kinetic hammers. Primitive weapons but effective in numbers. Taemin smiled. It was not a kind smile. Tell Commander Kang she may engage at will. Show them what humans can do. The message went out. On New Busan, Commander Kang Minji received her orders. She stood on the defensive wall looking at her troops. 2,000 longbowmen, 500 crossbowmen, 3 mobile trebuchets, all perfectly legal under the treaty. Today we teach the galaxy a lesson, Minji said to her officers. Today we show them that humans are dangerous with any weapon, even old ones. The Vrex army advanced across the farmland. They moved in tight formation. They expected laser fire. They expected missiles. They expected modern war. They got something different. Archers ready, Minji commanded. 2,000 soldiers drew their bows. Modern composite bows made of carbon fiber. Each bow could pull 60 pounds. Each arrow had a tungsten carbide tip. The Vrex kept coming. They did not understand the danger. Loose, the sky turned dark. 2,000 arrows flew. The Vrex looked up. Too late, arrows fell like rain. Chitin armor cracked. Vrex warriors screamed. The front ranks collapsed. Again, Minji ordered, another wave. Another 2,000 arrows. 12 arrows per minute per archer. 24,000 arrows in the first minute. The Vrex had never seen anything like it. Back on Concordia Prime, Taemin watched the battle through long-range sensors. Park Mina stood beside him. It is working, she said. Yes, Taemin said. Now the galaxy will learn. Humans do not need advanced weapons to be dangerous. We just need to remember who we are. The first battle had begun, and humanity was winning. 3 months after the treaty signing, Station Archimedes orbited quietly above a gas giant. The station was a human military research facility. Inside, Yoonjaewon prepared for the most important presentation of her life. The Galactic Compliance Committee had come to inspect humanity's new weapons. They wanted to make sure everything followed the treaty. The committee included Vrex Inspector Chithrax and Luminar Observer Crystallix. Both of them had heard about the battle at New Busan. Both of them were worried. Jiwon stood in the center of the inspection hall. Around her, tables displayed dozens of weapons, bows of every kind, crossbows large and small. And in the corner, 3 massive wooden and metal structures. Chithrax approached first. His insect eyes examined a longbow. He picked it up carefully. It was lighter than he expected. "This is a bow?" he asked. "Yes," Jiwon said. "A composite recurve bow, made with carbon fiber and titanium, but it works on pure mechanical principles. You pull the string releases, the arrow flies. No electronics, no computers, no energy source except the archer's muscles." Crystallix moved to the next table. He examined a crossbow. It was heavy, dark metal, dangerous looking. "And this?" "A crossbow," Jiwon explained. "Medieval weapon, updated with modern materials. Pull the lever. Load the bolt. Pull the trigger. Purely mechanical. 500-pound draw weight. Can punch through most armor." Captain Park Mina stood nearby. She had been waiting for this moment. She picked up the crossbow, loaded a bolt, and aimed at a test target across the hall. The target was made of military-grade armor plating, the kind used on starship hulls. She pulled the trigger. The bolt flew. It hit the armor plate with a loud crack. The bolt went straight through. Clean hole. Perfect penetration. The committee members looked at each other. This was not good. Chithrax moved to the large structures in the corner. He stared up at them. They were huge, 20 feet tall, made of wood and metal beams. Counterweights hung from chains. "What are these things?" "Siege engines," Jiwon said happily. "This one is a trebuchet. It uses gravity and leverage to throw heavy objects. That one is a ballista. It is like a giant crossbow. And that one is a mangonel. It uses torsion springs. How far can they throw?" Crystallix asked. "The trebuchet can throw a 200-kilogram projectile over 1 kilometer in Earth gravity. In low gravity or vacuum, much farther. The ballista can shoot a 4-meter spear with enough force to pierce a tank." Chithrax was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke carefully. "These weapons are very powerful. Are you sure they comply with the treaty?" Jiwon smiled. "Completely sure. No energy weapons, no chemical propulsion, no electromagnetic acceleration, no computer targeting. Everything is mechanical. Everything is muscle-powered or gravity-powered. Our ancestors used these weapons for 10,000 years. But you make them with modern materials," Crystallix said. The treaty says nothing about materials, Park Mina replied. It only restricts the operating principles. These weapons operate exactly like weapons from human history. We just build them better now. The committee spent 3 hours examining everything. They ran tests. They read specifications. They looked for treaty violations. They found none. Everything was legal. Everything was allowed. Finally, Chithrak signed the approval document. He did not look happy. Your weapons comply with the treaty. You may use them. After the committee left, G1 found Park Mina in the observation deck. They approved everything, G1 said. I know. Now the real work begins. Across human space, training began. Every military base, every ship, every outpost. Soldiers who had trained with plasma rifles now trained with longbows. Tank crews learned to operate mobile trebuchet platforms. Pilots practiced shooting crossbows in zero gravity. On Mars base, Sergeant Cho Hyunsik trained 500 new archers. Hyunsik was 40 years old. He had been an archer before joining the military. Now he was the best archery instructor in human space. Archery is not about strength, he told his students. It is about form, about breath, about patience. A good archer can shoot all day. A good archer never misses, he demonstrated. Drew his bow. Held it steady. Released. The arrow flew 100 meters and hit the target center. Perfect shot. Again, he said. Another arrow. Another perfect shot. You will practice until you can do this. 10 shots. 20 shots. 100 shots. All perfect. This is what it means to be an archer. On Jupiter Station, engineer Oh Sung-min built trebuchets. Big ones, small ones, mobile ones. He designed them for different environments. Heavy gravity, light gravity, vacuum, atmosphere. A trebuchet is simple, he explained to his team. Weight goes down, arm goes up. Projectile flies, but making it accurate is hard. We need to calculate everything. Weight, distance, gravity, wind, everything matters. His team worked day and night. They tested hundreds of designs. They measured everything. They made each trebuchet perfect. On Earth, Dr. Han Soo-jin studied ballistics. She was an expert in how things move through air, how arrows fly, how bolts spin, how projectiles arc. The aliens think our weapons are primitive, she said to her research team. They are wrong. A well-made arrow is more efficient than most bullets. It flies straighter. It hits harder. It costs almost nothing to make. She showed them calculations. An arrow fired from a 60-pound bow travels at 200 feet per second. It carries enough kinetic energy to pierce any personal armor. And a skilled archer can fire 12 arrows per minute for hours. 1,000 archers equals 12,000 arrows per minute, she said. That is 200 arrows per second. That is a rain of death. No shield can stop it. No armor can protect against it. The galaxy watched these preparations with confusion. News channels showed human soldiers training with bows. Military analysts debated what it meant. Most of them laughed. Humans have lost their minds, one Luminar commentator said. They train with museum pieces. They will be crushed in the next conflict. A Vrex war analyst agreed. Bows and arrows cannot win wars. Not against modern warriors. Not against trained soldiers. Humans are desperate. They are weak. But a few voices disagreed. One Kesh military historian watched the training videos carefully. He saw something others missed. He saw discipline. He saw skill. He saw danger. He wrote a report to his superiors. Do not underestimate the humans. They are adapting. These weapons may seem primitive, but humans use them to conquer their entire planet. They use them to kill millions. They are very, very good at this. His report was ignored. Back on Station Archimedes, Admiral Lee Taman reviewed the training reports. Everything was going well. Soldiers were learning fast. Production was ahead of schedule. The weapons worked perfectly. Park Mina entered his office. Sir, we just received word. The Luminar Sovereignty is planning an attack. They are targeting Armstrong Station on New Sol Prime. How many troops? 20,000. They are bringing their best warriors. Full crystalline armor. They think they can win easily. Taman smiled. How many defenders do we have? 4,000. Colonel Huang Taiyang commands them. He is one of our best. Good. Tell the colonel he may engage. Show the Luminar what human weapons can do. Park Mina saluted and left. The second test was coming, and humanity was ready. New Busan was a beautiful planet. Green fields stretched for miles. Golden crops swayed in the wind. 50,000 colonists lived peaceful lives there. They grew food. They raised families. They had no army until the Vrex came. 10,000 Vrex warriors landed at dawn. Their ships covered the sky. Their commander, Cax, stood at the front of his army. He felt confident. The humans had only 3,000 defenders. The humans had no real weapons. This would be easy. Commander Kang Minji watched the Vrex from the defensive walls. She was 35 years old. Before becoming a soldier, she had been a history professor. She taught about ancient warfare. She knew everything about battles from human history. Now she would use that knowledge. How many archers? She asked Lieutenant Bei Jinho. 2,000 longbowmen ready on the walls. 500 crossbowmen in reserve. 3 trebuchets positioned behind the city. Minji nodded. She looked at the advancing Vrex. They moved in tight formation. Shoulder to shoulder. Shield to shield. A classic mistake. They do not know what arrows can do, she said quietly. They think their armor will protect them. They are wrong. The Vrex advanced across the open farmland. 1 mile away. Half a mile. Quarter mile. They expected laser fire. They expected missiles. Nothing came. Cax clicked his mandibles happily. The humans were not fighting. They were afraid. Victory would be easy. Then the Vrex entered arrow range. Archers ready? Minji called. 2,000 soldiers stood on the walls. Each held a longbow. Each had 20 arrows in their quiver. Each had trained for 3 months for this moment. Private First Class Nam Yunji stood among them. She was only 19 years old, the youngest soldier to earn marksman status. Her hands were steady. Her breathing was calm. She drew her bow. All around her, 2,000 soldiers did the same. 2,000 bows, 2,000 arrows, all aimed at the sky, loose. The sky turned dark. 2,000 arrows rose in a high arc. They flew through the air. They fell like rain. The Vrex looked up. Too late, arrows struck chitin armor. The armor cracked. The arrows went through. Vrex warriors fell, hundreds of them. The front ranks collapsed. Cax stared in shock. What was happening? These were just arrows. Primitive weapons. How could they pierce Vrex armor? He did not know about tungsten carbide tips. He did not know about carbon fiber bows. He did not know that each arrow hit with the force of a rifle bullet. Again, Minji ordered. Another wave. 2,000 more arrows. 12 seconds had passed. In medieval times, archers could fire 12 arrows per minute. Modern training made them faster. Modern bows made them deadlier. Nam Yunji had already fired 3 arrows. 3 Vrex had fallen. She drew her 4th arrow. Aimed. Released. Another Vrex fell. The Vrex tried to advance. They raised their shields. They moved forward. Arrows kept falling. 100 arrows per second. 200. The air was full of death. In the first minute, 24,000 arrows fell on the Vrex army. 5,000 warriors died. The Vrex formation broke. Soldiers scattered. They ran in different directions. They are retreating, Beijino shouted. No, Minji said calmly. They are running. There is a difference. When they retreat, we let them go. When they run, we kill them all. She turned to the trebuchet crews. Siege weapons, fire. Behind the city, 3 massive trebuchets stood ready. Each one held a different payload. Not rocks, modern munitions. The first trebuchet fired. Its arm swung up. A container flew through the air. It landed in the middle of the fleeing Vrex. The container exploded. Not with explosives, with caltrops. Thousands of sharp metal spikes scattered across the ground. Vrex warriors stepped on them. The spikes went through their feet. They fell. They screamed. The second trebuchet fired. Its payload was different. A large jar filled with a thick liquid. The jar shattered on impact. The liquid spread. Then it ignited. Fire swept across the battlefield. Not plasma fire. Not energy weapons. Chemical fire. Napalm-like compounds that burned hot and long, completely legal under the treaty. The third trebuchet fired concussion charges, big metal spheres with primitive fuses inside. They hit the ground and exploded with pure kinetic force. No illegal technology, just pressure and metal fragments. The battlefield became hell. Cax tried to organize a retreat. He screamed orders, but his warriors were panicking. They had never faced anything like this. They had trained for modern war. Energy weapons, missiles, computer targeting, not this. Not arrows and fire. Not ancient death falling from the sky. By midday, the Vrex had lost 6,000 warriors. By afternoon, 8,000. As the sun set, Cax ordered the survivors back to their ships. 4,000 warriors limped back, broken, defeated, traumatized. On the walls of New Busan, the human defenders celebrated. They had won. 3,000 against 10,000. And they had won. Nam Yunji sat against the wall. Her arms hurt from drawing the bow. She had fired 120 arrows. She was exhausted. But a live Beijinho found her. Good work, Private. You took down 14 enemies. I counted. Thank you, sir. Will they come back? No, he said. They learned their lesson. Commander Minji stood on the highest point of the wall. She watched the wreck ships leave. She thought about history. About all the battles fought with bows and arrows. Agincourt, Crécy, Hastings. Today, New Busan joined that list. News of the battle spread across the galaxy. The Galactic Council called an emergency meeting. The Vrex filed a formal complaint. They claimed the humans had violated the treaty. The Council reviewed all the evidence, battle recordings, weapon specifications, treaty documents. Everything was legal. Every weapon complied with the treaty. No energy weapons, no chemical propulsion, no computer targeting, just bows, just arrows, just ancient human skill. The complaint was rejected. On Concordia Prime, Admiral Lee Taman read the reports. He felt satisfied. The plan was working. The galaxy was learning. Park Mina entered his office. The Vrex are quiet now, but the Luminar are still planning their attack. They think their crystalline armor will protect them where Vrex Chiton failed. Let them think that, Taman said. Crystal is harder than chitin, but it is also more brittle. It will shatter beautifully. When do they attack? Soon, very soon. Taman looked out at the stars. The galaxy was changing. The other species were learning to respect humans again. Not because of technology, because of skill, because of history, because humans remembered how to be dangerous. The war was far from over. But for the first time in 300 years, humanity was winning. The Great Hall on Concordia Prime was full. Every species had sent representatives. Every nation wanted to speak. The Galactic Council was in chaos. Ambassador Kim Dae-hyun sat calmly in his chair. Around him, aliens argued and shouted. The Vrex wanted justice. The Luminar wanted revenge. The smaller species wanted safety. Everyone was afraid of humans now. The Vrex High Commander stood to speak. His voice was angry. Humans have exploited the treaty. They use ancient weapons to kill thousands. This is not peace. This is slaughter. The Luminar Crystal Prince rang his agreement. We demand amendments. Ban all kinetic weapons. Ban bows, ban catapults. Ban everything humans use. Kim stood slowly. He looked at each representative. His expression was calm but firm. You wrote the treaty, he said quietly. You defined what weapons were forbidden. Energy weapons. Chemical propulsion. Electromagnetic acceleration. Computer targeting. You were very specific. We did not expect this. The Vrex commander shouted. Exactly, Kim replied. You did not expect humans to adapt. You thought technology made us dangerous. You were wrong. Humans are dangerous because we think, because we learn, because we remember our history. He activated a holographic display. Images appeared. Ancient human battles, medieval armies, samurai warriors, Mongol horsemen, English longbowmen. For 10,000 years, humans fought with these weapons. We conquered our entire planet. We built empires. We waged wars that killed millions, all with bows and swords and catapults. The hall was quiet now. Everyone watched the images. You wanted to remove our technology, Kim continued. You succeeded, but you forgot that humans existed for thousands of years before we had plasma rifles and missiles. We were dangerous then. We are dangerous now. A new voice spoke. It was the Kesh ambassador, a being named Wavecrest. His voice was different from the others. Thoughtful, respectful. Perhaps, Wavecrest said. We have approached this wrongly. We tried to weaken humans. We failed. Maybe we should try something else. What do you suggest? The Luminar Prince asked. Real peace, not forced disarmament, not legal tricks. Real peace based on mutual respect. The humans have proven they can fight. Now let us see if they can build. Kim looked at Wavecrest with interest. This was unexpected. The Kesh had been enemies for 200 years. Now they offered peace. What kind of peace? Kim asked. Trade agreements, cultural exchanges, joint research. The kind of peace that benefits everyone, The kind that lasts. The Vrex commander clicked his mandibles in disgust. You would reward them? After they killed thousands of our warriors? No, Wavecrest replied calmly. I would accept reality. Humans are strong. They will always be strong. We can fight them forever and lose, or we can make peace and gain something valuable. The debate continued for hours. Some species agreed with Wavecrest. Others wanted war. But something important had changed. The galaxy was no longer trying to control humans. They were trying to understand humans. Senator Gohaeun watched from the human delegation area. She was new to galactic politics, young, idealistic, but smart. She leaned toward Kim. Can we trust the Kesh? I do not know, Kim admitted. But Wavecrest is right about one thing. We cannot fight forever. If the galaxy truly wants peace, we should try. And if they do not want peace? Kim smiled slightly. Then we keep our bows ready. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, something interesting was happening. Other species were studying human weapons. Smaller nations, neutral powers, species who had no voice in the great debates. They watched the battles. They saw the effectiveness. They saw that simple weapons used with skill could defeat advanced armies. A small reptilian species called the Kresh sent a secret message to humanity. They wanted to learn. They wanted training. They wanted to understand archery and siege warfare. Admiral Lee Taman read their request. He thought carefully. Then he approved it. Send them instructors, he told Park Mina. Teach them properly. Show them the discipline required. If they are serious, they will make good allies. More requests came. The Drellic, the Theron, the Mivari, small species who saw opportunity, who saw that the old powers were vulnerable. Human instructors went out across the galaxy. Sergeant Cho Hyunsik taught archery to 6 different species. Engineer Oh Sung-min helped 3 civilizations build their own trebuchets. Dr. Han Soo-jin gave lectures on ballistics and kinetic weapons. The balance of power was shifting. Back on Concordia Prime, the Vrex and Luminar realized what was happening. They tried to stop it. They demanded the Council ban the teaching of human warfare. The smaller species objected. You cannot ban education, the Kresh representative said. You cannot ban learning. The humans offer us knowledge. We accept. Kim watched this with satisfaction. The enemies of humanity were isolating themselves. By trying to control everyone, they lost control of everything. The Vrex and Luminar had one final option. One last attempt to stop the humans. They could amend the treaty. Ban all weapons. Force everyone to disarm completely. They brought the proposal to the Council. Every species would give up all weapons. Complete disarmament. True peace through powerlessness, the vote was called. Every signatory nation had to agree. Unanimous consent was required. The Vrex voted yes. The Luminar voted yes. The small species voted no. They had just learned to defend themselves. They would not give up that power. And humanity voted no. The proposal failed. The treaty remained unchanged. The Vrex and Luminar had lost. After the vote, Wavecrest approached Kim privately. They met in a quiet observation room overlooking the stars. My government is ready to negotiate true peace, Wavecrest said. Not a trick. Not a scheme. Real peace. Why now? Kim asked. Because you have proven something important. You have proven that humans cannot be controlled. Cannot be weakened. Cannot be defeated by legal tricks. The only way forward is partnership. Kim considered this. And the Vrex? The Luminar? They will come around eventually. Pride is painful but not permanent. They will accept peace when they realize fighting is worse. What about the smaller species? The ones we are training? Let them learn. Let them grow strong. A galaxy of strong nations is more stable than a few powerful empires ruling everyone else. Kim smiled. You sound like a human philosopher. Perhaps. Or perhaps the Kesh simply learn faster than the Vrex and Luminar. They shook hands. Or rather, Kim extended his hand and Wavecrest touched it with his fin. Different gestures. Same meaning. Peace was possible. Not the forced peace of the treaty. Not the fearful peace of weakness. Real peace built on respect and strength. Senator Gohaeun joined Kim at the window. Do you think it will last? This peace? I do not know, Kim admitted. Peace is always fragile. Always temporary. But it is worth trying. What if the Vrex attack again? Then we will fight again. And we will win again. But I hope it does not come to that. On Earth, Admiral Taman received reports of the council proceedings. He read about the failed vote, about the cash offer, about the changing balance of power. Park Mina found him in his office. The Vreks are quiet. The Luminar are withdrawing from the border. It looks like peace. It looks like peace, Taman agreed. But appearances can be deceiving. You think they will attack again? I think some of them will. Not the governments, not the official armies, but the extremists, the true believers, the ones who cannot accept that humans won. When? Taman looked at the tactical displays. Ships moving, forces repositioning. The patterns were there for those who knew how to look. Soon, he said. Very soon. And when they come, they will come with everything they have. One final attack. One last attempt to prove humans are weak. Where will they hit? Taman pointed to the display. Earth, Luna, Mars, the heart of human civilization. They will come here, to Earth, to our home. They will bring everything, and we will show them one final time what humans can do. Park Mina nodded. I will prepare the defenses. Do that. And Park? Yes, sir? Make sure every archer is ready. Every trebuchet is loaded. Every crossbow is maintained. When they come, I want them to face the full might of human history. The final battle was coming. New Sol Prime was a moon, a big moon orbiting a gas giant, rich in minerals, valuable metals everywhere. Humans had built Armstrong Station there. 5,000 miners worked the facility. They dug deep into the lunar surface. They found platinum, titanium, rare earth elements. The Luminar sovereignty wanted it. War Coordinator Prismatus led the attack force. He was confident. His people had watched the Vreks' defeat at New Busan. They had studied the human weapons. They had a solution, crystalline armor. The Luminar were made of living crystal. Their bodies reflected light. Their armor was nearly transparent, strong, reflective, perfect for stopping arrows. Or so Prismatus thought. He brought 20,000 warriors. They wore full crystal shields. They moved in perfect formation. They landed on the lunar surface with confidence. Colonel Huang Taiyang watched them land. He commanded 4,000 human marines. He stood in the command center of Armstrong Station, studying the enemy formation. They learned from the Vreks' mistake, said Captain Song Yuri. She was his second in command. Young, smart, fast. Yes, Huang agreed. They think their crystal armor will stop our arrows. They are partially correct. Partially? Their armor will stop longbow arrows. Too much reflection, too much strength. But arrows are not our only weapon. He activated the tactical display. It showed positions across the lunar surface. Defensive positions, hidden positions. Mobile units, let them advance. When they get close, show them what crossbows can do. The Luminar army moved forward. The lunar surface was gray and dusty. Low gravity made movement strange. But the Luminar adapted quickly. They had trained for this. Human archers fired first. 2,000 arrows flew. Just like at New Busan, the Luminar raised their shields. The arrows struck crystal armor. The arrows shattered. Pieces flew everywhere. No penetration. No damage. Prismatus rang with satisfaction. The sound echoed across the communication channel. His warriors advanced faster. The humans were helpless. Victory was certain. Then the crossbows fired. These were not normal crossbows. These were heavy siege crossbows. 500-pound draw weight, 800-pound draw weight, some even higher. Mounted on stands, aimed carefully. The bolts were different too. Not arrows, bolts, thick, heavy, slow, made of solid tungsten carbide. Designed not to pierce but to smash. 500 crossbows fired together. 500 bolts flew through the low gravity. They moved slower than arrows. But they carried much more force. The first bolt hit a Luminar shield. The crystal cracked. The second bolt hit the same warrior. The crystal shattered. The warrior fell. All across the battlefield, the same thing happened. Crystal armor was strong, but it was also brittle. The heavy bolts hit like hammers. The crystal could not absorb the force. It broke. Prismatus watched in horror as his front line collapsed. 200 warriors down. 300, 500, spread out, he ordered. Do not bunch together. The Luminar formation spread across the lunar plain. Good tactics. Harder to target. But Huang had expected this. Release the cavalry, he ordered. Across the gray surface, 50 motorcycles roared to life. Special lunar motorcycles. Low profile, fast. Each one carried 2 soldiers. A driver and an archer. Captain Song Yuri led them. She drove her motorcycle in a wide circle around the Luminar formation. Behind her, an archer named Corporal Lim Junho held a composite bow. "Ready?" she called. "Ready," Lim replied. The motorcycles circled the enemy. Mongol tactics. Ancient steppe warfare. Updated for the moon. The archers fired while moving. Fast shots. Quick shots. They did not need to pierce armor. They just needed to keep the enemy busy. The Luminar tried to return fire. They threw crystal spears. They fired crystal shards. But the motorcycles were too fast. Always moving. Never still. The Luminar formation clustered together for protection. Exactly what Huang wanted. Trebuchets fire. Behind Armstrong Station, 3 massive trebuchets stood ready. Lim Junho had designed them. Not the archer on the motorcycle. A different Lim Junho. Corporal Lim Junho, siege engineer. He had modified the trebuchets for lunar gravity. Stronger counterweights. Longer arms. Different calculations. Everything adjusted for 1/6 Earth gravity. The first trebuchet fired. Its arm swung up slowly in the low gravity. A massive tungsten sphere flew in a high lazy arc. It looked slow, but mass is mass. Momentum is momentum. The sphere came down in the middle of the Luminar formation. It hit the ground at terminal velocity, 500 kilograms of solid metal. The impact was devastating. The ground shook. Dust flew up. Luminar warriors near the impact were thrown back. Those directly underneath were crushed. The kinetic energy alone was like a meteor strike. The second trebuchet fired. Another tungsten sphere. Another devastating impact. The third trebuchet fired. 3 500-kilogram projectiles in 30 seconds. The Luminar formation shattered. Literally. Crystal warriors broke. Formations collapsed. The tight cluster that had seemed so safe became a death trap. Prismatus tried to rally his troops, but the morale was broken. His warriors had trained for modern war. Energy weapons, missiles, computer-guided death, not this. Not motorcycles and giant catapults. Not medieval warfare on the moon. By the end of the day, 8,000 Luminar warriors were dead. The rest retreated to their ships. They left the surface. They left the moon. They left human space. The human casualties were 347. Most from friendly fire accidents and equipment failures. Almost none from enemy action. In the command center, Colonel Huang sat down heavily. He was tired, but satisfied. Song Yuri brought him water. The Luminar are filing a complaint with the council. They claim we violated the spirit of the treaty. Huang laughed. The spirit? They agreed to the letter. Now they complain about the spirit. What will the council say? Nothing. We followed every rule, every restriction. We just used our brains. On Concordia Prime, the Galactic Council met in emergency session. The Vrex representative and the Luminar representative demanded justice. They demanded treaty amendments. They demanded that kinetic weapons be banned. Ambassador Kim Dae-hyun stood before them. Calm, professional, prepared. You want to ban kinetic weapons? He asked. Kinetic means movement. Movement means everything. Walking is kinetic. Throwing is kinetic. Breathing is kinetic. You want to ban movement? The Vrex representative clicked angrily. You know what we mean. Ban your bows. Ban your catapults. Ban your ancient weapons. Why? Kim asked simply. Because they work? Because we are good at using them? The treaty was meant to prevent weapons of mass destruction. Weapons that could kill millions. Weapons that could destroy planets. Our weapons cannot do that. They require skill, training, precision. Each shot must be aimed. Each kill is deliberate. Is that not more civilized than nuclear bombs? The argument went on for hours. But Kim knew the truth that made the aliens angry. Treaty amendments required unanimous approval. All signatories must agree, and humanity would never agree to ban their own weapons. The aliens had trapped themselves. They had written the treaty to stop human technology. Now they could not change it. Back at Armstrong Station, soldiers celebrated. They had won again. 2 victories, 2 impossible odds, 2 complete successes. Song Yuri found engineer Lim Junho checking his trebuchets. Good work today. Your modifications worked perfectly. Thank you, Captain. The calculations were difficult, but worth it. Do you think others will attack? Lim looked up at the stars. Maybe, but now they know. Now they understand. Humans are dangerous. Always have been. Always will be. The galaxy was learning, slowly, painfully, but learning.